Okay. Welcome, everybody. Nice. We love to start with a wild card. Okay. Well, we have a real shot at this one because we have 2, 4, 6. Okay, that's 2, 4, 6, 8. So we have a real good shot at the 1,000. So I'm going to do swap 4. Because if we get 8 or 10, we're in good shape. Hey, Delfino. I can say I'm excited. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I think he's fun. Yeah, the 12 isn't really giving us anything, so. There's the 8. Okay. That's beautiful. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the bonus. Appreciate that. Yeah, I get that, Delfino. Like, we do have the Grace now, but what if you're not close to Grace? It's a tough one, because, like, I would love to have Black Tarantula A2, but if I have to go to Grace 2 more times, he's a long way away. Hey, Vital. I am planning on doing the cable video tomorrow, yeah. I'll be honest, I don't think that cable's going to be like an absolute must-have. Um, but I think it's a really fun kit. Um, like I think the live stream at least didn't really show off the best part of his kit because we're not necessarily used to. Ooh, okay, that's a really good starter for that one. We're not necessarily used to kits that are built around special threes. We often think in terms of, okay, what does it look like if I do the special two, special one? But Cable really is built around special three. And I'll talk about that some more tomorrow. But like the I saw some comments on the live stream about how the damage didn't look great on the degens. And that's because you don't get nearly as many Daunteds with that rotation. He really cooks with the special 3 rotation. It does a lot of damage really quickly, and it's very fun. Okay. I'm going to gain 1, swap 3. Hey, Hal, glad you're liking the look of them. Yeah, doesn't really matter. All right. Yeah, it's still swap 4. Yeah, those are all good comparables, Alejandro. Yeah, I think we keep. We'll still go for the original. I'm well aware. Please give me the thing. Pain. Okay, well, we still got the straight. That 20,000's elusive. Yeah, that works. He does use the gun a lot. Would have been cooler if that was 60k. They levy. It could have been a little cleaner on my end. Probably not gonna get any of these. Yeah, I'll gain 1, swap 3. New tech in the game? Um, there's a number of things that it's really difficult to fully get into. Like, I absolutely have things that I would ask for, but I think if we expand your question a little bit to include like just implementation things, not just necessarily our gameplay tech, the biggest thing I would want would be negative hit reactions. Because that is a huge ask for the art team, right? That's like, I've said this before, even if you use standardized adaptations for everybody, you still need like minimum, I don't know, 6 or 7 sets of animations for various body types and other kinds of considerations. Um, and so like that's a pretty big chunk of animation work, and then a metric ton of QA work to make sure that those animations work on everybody. But if we ever got that, then we could start doing a whole lot more with the game. Um, like then you can actually do pull effects, right? You can do like affect areas or trigger volumes or something where it's like right now all we can do is mines, right? But if we had the ability to do negative hit reactions, then you could put a turret on the ground and shoot your opponent in the back. There's no real way to do that right now. But that's the kind of thing that I would love to be able to play with. And I know I'm not the only designer with that on the list. I don't know. This isn't a great one, so I think I'll probably just drop 2. Because if we manage to get a 5 and a 7, then we get a lot of points. But not terribly likely. Cable was listed in prior Saga rank up gems. I can't remember if his move date or if his release date moved. It might have, but if so, like very early on, right? Because I think the reason he was in the previous Saga gem was a narrative one, right? That he was discussed in that saga narratively. He was part of the story wrapper. And maybe that means at one point that we were hoping to do that there, but like he's been planned for this spot in the year for a very long time because this was where we could fit the work. So if he was moved, I don't remember it recently. That makes sense. That's close. That 3 could have been a 5, and that'd be nice, but that's fine. Evening darkness. Yeah, that kind of thing, Alejandro. I forget who I was thinking about this for recently. Like it's been a while. The first time I really asked about this was with Kushala because I was like, "Hey, she has a moment in the comics where she like pulls the spirit that out of someone. Can we pull someone forward? And the art team was like, definitely not. This is as close as we can go. And as close as they can go is very good. I think Kashala's Special 2 looks incredible, but that's been something I've wanted to chase ever since. Evening, Kurt. Elijah, how's it going? Still no certified force over here, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll take the foes one. Sometimes it's nice to have low-hanging fruit. Don't check Discord. It's okay. Congrats on yours. I have gotten the reverse one once, which is very nice. But I've also narrowly missed it several times, including another time on this stream, which is less nice. Hey. And I haven't had much trouble or luck going for the plain one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least it's letting us double down. Not a lucky day so far. Yeah, that was just slow. That was rude. Yeah, I've gotten that a couple times, Elijah. It's just, even when everything's lining up, the odds still aren't technically in your favor, which is why the hand's worth so much. I still have not started X-Men, the second season of X-Men '97. To be honest, we've been busy. It's a significant tech ask for us to make Cloak and Dagger 1 champion, but we're getting closer to that. In my mind, the ask is more like, is it actually going to make sense for us to do that, right? Like, I'll be completely blunt here in terms of the business side of it. If we do Cloak and Dagger, thank you for the follow. If we do Cloak and Dagger, then we have the ability to sell 2 champions and to ask you to own both of them. We can give them synergies. We can potentially have their models show up in the other characters' gameplay. Like, they can be very closely related, but we can take that modeling work of 2 different models. We can take all that animation work, all that VFX work, and turn it into 2 deliverables, right? As cool as Cloak and Dagger might be as a single champion, it is a harder pitch for us to it's a harder pitch for us to develop 2 high quality models, animate both of them at least a little bit, even if they split, do all that extra artwork, figure like do the coordination to make sure it fits with whatever vision the character designer has for the actual kit, and then to just ship 1 character. Because they'd be very special. They might make more than a normal character, right? They almost certainly wouldn't make double what a normal one does. And again, I want to be clear. This is not me saying that means we won't put them together just to make money. I know some people are going to hear that and go, greedy kabam. I'm just saying that is a conversation that people above me are going to have at some point. There is also the possibility of what Black Hole is saying. I'm less sure how I feel about that one. Because like there are pluses and minuses with that kind of thing. If they're 1 champion, then yeah, maybe they like there's some things that are harder, like the things I said, like potentially people are expecting more of them. But if they're 2 separate champions, they're definitely both science, right? And if they're both science, then they're competing for meta targets. And they're inevitably going to get compared to each other. And if they ship in the same month, then it'll be the first time we shipped 2 characters of the same class in the same month in a very long time. And that is a harder problem for us to solve or brush off than people's expectations just being unreasonable. Okay. I need a 9. I think I just swap 4. I won't say that's impossible darkness, that's just a different kind of heavy dev investment. Hey, we got the 9. Okay, I'll take it. And that's also possible, Black Hole. It's just that that's inevitably spreading it out a bit more than some people would want. Because ideally, Cloak and Dagger would probably be like 3 whole months apart. And that's a lot of waiting. It's also potentially a lot of time for people to build up hype, right? And in both ways. Let's say Cloak releases first and people think that Cloak is really good. Does that mean that Dagger has to be better? Let's see, people aren't super happy with Cloak. Does that hurt Dagger's potential revenue? Does that put extra pressure on Dagger and say, like, oh, well, now Dagger has to be great because Cloak sucks? Because those are the kinds of conversations that, let's be honest, are completely irrespective of whether the players are right. Those narrative things have weight, even if players have no idea what they're talking about. That makes things tricky. Morning, Sans. We'll see what happens when we get to him. Absolutely, Glenn. Yeah, and that might happen, Delfino, but even right now, that would be beyond what we've ever done for a champion before. We've never swapped from one model to another in fight. We've done material swaps. Like Absorbing Man was a big level up in that. But never full models. Bleh. I mean, we might as well drop 3 because it's more points than the bad hand we have here. Yes and no. On the relic thing. Forgot to do another light. That's okay. Because the thing about relics is those were already pretty big level ups. Like there was a lot of tech that went into relics. And there's still some weird things about them, right? I won't get into right now, but I think that's well understood. But relics use an existing model with a shader and use existing animations. So like it was a big technical feat to get the relics in there, but it's not actually that huge of a thing to go like, by the way, we already have Captain America, here's his medium light. Whereas if we're talking about Cloak and Dagger basically serving as relics for each other, then that's kind of a step up. Because then we're talking about new characters, new models, without the shader, loaded in, and doing their own new animations. And then we're probably also looking at something like maybe they have to be able to use another striker anyway, right? Because it's easy enough to go like, oh, well, then just don't give them a striker. Or like, don't let them use external strikers. And that's probably tech we could build. I don't think it currently works that way. But even if we made it so you couldn't attach another relic to them, then that's even more pressure on the actual kit design itself, because if they can't use strikers, then they kind of have to be each other's other strikers, which means that has to then be part of your gameplay. It can't really be incidental to it. And then, yeah, it's. I won't get into it too much more. I'm not trying to say that we can't do this, right? Whenever I go through these things, I'm not saying that this is a no. It's just a large can of worms, and it would not be simple. None of these solutions make me go, "Oh yeah, that's actually yeah, no problem. Let's do that." Like all of the mitigations that people bring up around people like Cloak and Dagger, they might work, but we are still describing like two heavy champion dev cycles, like significantly above average. And that's especially true if we take the suggestion of making sure that they don't launch in the same month, because they would have to be developed very closely together. And so then you're talking about, okay, just build these two characters so that they work perfectly together, but also they release 3 months apart and have independent meta asks, and whoever ships second also needs to still be relevant 3 months after the work on them is done. It's it's a lot. I don't know how they'd react to Elijah, but I was also kind of just talking about why that's still a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we want at Kabam. It's gonna rely on tech we don't yet have someday. All right. Pity we didn't get the offer of the even one here, but I'm just gonna swap out three. We'll go for the flush. Don't be as annoying as they are on Rivals. Your opponent has Cloak and Dagger in their Battlegrounds deck. It just activates the Heimdall synergy and you die when you thought that you won, actually. Oh, wait, I'm trading out all my Mystics. Okay, this was a mistake. That's fine. Hey, That's fine. I'll take that. Yeah, but Honeydew and I have never collaborated on something with a 3-month release gap. The motorcycle in Ghost Rider's intro, I can't remember if it's used in the Special 3, but if so, it's probably just in those two places. The motorcycle is basically an advanced prop, though. It has its own VFX attached. It is a modeling ask, but props are still not the same as what you call them, as character models, which have to be like fully articulated with skeletons for animation in a way that something that only the wheels spin just doesn't have to be. It's a much, much lighter ask. That's not very nice. How hard would it be to integrate team building into something like Battlegrounds? To just turn it on? It's a fair amount of back end work, but probably not that bad. To do it in a way that makes sense and makes the game mode better, incredibly difficult. Like, what you are describing is basically a new game mode. Like an entirely new game mode. It would have some similarities to Arena, it would have some similarities to Battlegrounds, but that is a new game mode. So that's a lot of design work, a lot of UI work, a lot of engineering work. And that means that it would probably be weighed against us building that or an entirely different new game mode. Yeah, go for it. And here's where we miss, and that's fine. Yep. Got one of the cards we needed. And if I'd kept the 3, then it would have been fine. But you never are going to actually know that you have, or that you only need to keep the 3 instead of the 2. I love you. But how do you actually do that strategizing when the gameplay's asynchronous, Elijah? So annoying to pull the even one here because I almost have the odd. Like, look, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13. That's fine. Thanks for the follow. Whoops. Nice. Oh, that's less nice. All right, we can still just swap 3. But man, if we'd gotten that odds. Oh, come on. Okay. 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 I'll take it. Kingmaker's technically better. We still got the bonus. I apologize for being upset, RNGesus. Yeah, I am open to an idea, Elijah, but assuming we don't completely refactor the entire game to make things synchronous, which would basically be a different game, I'm struggling to see how tag teaming adds much more than existing striker designs. If that makes sense. Am I familiar with Echo Fighter design? Hmm. I understand the idea, I guess, but I'm not following as many of the corollaries. I don't know. Where do you want to take that conversation? Whoop, that hurt. Give me my fury. Thank you. Indeed, Hogan. So, I will say that, like, within MCOC, I wish that we didn't have the duplicates we do. Of course, this is where we don't see the 20k. Rude. That's fine. I think we can go after symbiotes. Um, like I think the duplicates made sense at the time. I understand why we did them. But I wish that we had a setup for skins instead, and that any same class duplicates didn't exist. Like Cosmic Spidey versus Stealth Spidey versus Science Spidey versus Tech Spidey, fine. They all have different abilities. They are pulled from different parts of the universe. It's maybe not ideal that all four of them are literally Peter Parker, but they are clearly different kits. But OG Cap and World War II Cap, I would rather delete one of them. Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, I would rather delete one of them. Now, you can argue a little bit about Captain Marvel movie and Captain America Infinity War. Are those separate enough? Even though they are the same class and it is Steve Rogers and it is Carol Danvers, are those different enough that they stay as their own, or do you completely collapse the other two Caps into Infinity War? Do you completely collapse the other two Carols into CMM? I don't know. But I think that at minimum, OG Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel should be combined, and one should be a skin for the other. And same thing as far as the two old Science Steves. Now that only really makes sense if we also do skins, but I think we should do skins. Yeah, to the extent of like Photon being similar to Captain Marvel, but in a different class and therefore working differently, that's fun. Like, obvious, and I don't think I'm just biased there as having done it myself. I legitimately think that's cool. I think the other places where that kind of thing has come up are also neat, right? And I say that as somebody who's done this a lot, because that's also basically what I did with Patriot. Like, he's a skill Captain America. Um, But yeah, I think that kind of thing where like echoing across different classes, sure. Literally just two runs at the same kit, meh. Well, it's kind of tough to throw that away, but I think I still should. But what are the odds of me actually getting? Because I need 5 of the symbiotes, right? Yeah. So I would need to get 3 more, which is a pretty tall ask. And I'd be going down 325 points for that small chance of plus 700. Whatever, I don't do it. We're chasing thrills. Certainly arguable, Supa. I don't think he does, Darkness. We've generally moved away from vulnerabilities like that. Okay. Statistically speaking, that was bound to happen. Hmm. Okay. Shocker was a bad idea. Hmm. Gotcha, Neos. Yeah, I don't think they really did that here. I mean, we have done it before. That's very clearly what anti-venom is. I think I would be pretty disappointed if the older Carol Danvers were rebuilt and were anywhere close to as similar as they are now. Like that just feels like a failure of imagination to me that would purely be done to like for what? Like what purpose would that serve? Let's say somebody really likes OG Carol Danvers. Cool, that's great for them, but like if they want to play something similar to the original, then conceivably one of the two would be similar. The other one doesn't need to look anything like it. Any at all work? But I'm assuming if you're saying that there was last time and you're not confusing it with Solo Coliseum. Also, hi. Okay, so we are talking about Solo Coliseum? Is that a response to somebody? Or were you just saying this? I'm sorry, I'm a little caught off guard here. Oh, okay. I'm just now seeing Hilgen's response. Okay. Now I understand. I mean, people say like, is there any talk of? And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like be rude or anything, but like that's the kind of question that is almost impossible to answer in any productive way. Because like what does that even mean, right? There are over 100 people working on this game. I don't talk to all of them all the time. I'm not on the team that was behind first appearance in the first place. I don't really know what to say, right? Like somebody has definitely said something about an evolution beyond first appearance, but if I say yes, then like that makes it sound like it's more imminent than it probably is. And I also just wouldn't have insight on a lot of things that people potentially would be saying. Yeah, so apologies, but I don't think I can really say more there. Okay, well, I'm glad we got it straight because apparently we just cannot get. I can't believe how difficult it's been for us to get a flush today. Been absolutely insane. Welcome, comic. I would be personally in favor of additional cosmetic treatments, but it would only make sense, in my opinion, if we then also have some kind of system for prioritizing them and choosing them in game, right? Because right now, if I have a character who is first appearance, and then I got whatever you're talking about, there's nothing in game supporting the ability to prioritize them or switch between them, right? What happens if you like one more than the other, right? And so at some point, we'll probably do something along those lines, but it's probably further off than it would be if we didn't have to build a dedicated UI for it, if that makes sense. I think it is a possibility, but it also kind of depends on like how is it going, how is the monetization team's ongoing experiment with first appearance going? Do they feel like it's demonstrating that there is enough of a market for this for them to start playing with it more and potentially building it out? Or is it kind of a cool thing that's maybe not worth the inevitable diminishing returns that something like that would have? I don't know. I personally am in favor of it, but that's me speaking without seeing any of the numbers. Yeah, for sure, heard. I have 5 mystics because 4 gems. That'll do it. We're chasing foes, right? Cool. Don't yell at me. They're gonna yell at me. Maybe I should just click don't show, but I'm worried that the second I do that, I won't be paying attention enough. How? Like, I can't really complain because they keep refilling me with full houses, but I just cannot get 5 characters in one class today, or one faction. I've done it maybe once all day, if that. We've been doing this for an hour. It's one of the easier suits to get. It's not worth that many points. So let me double dip my modifiers. So new stages I will put pretty firmly in a different bucket, right? I'm in favor of new stages, but that's not a cosmetic thing. Because not unless like you can only see the new stage if you're paying for the summoner sigil, right? That's just something that goes out to everybody. Character borders, profile backgrounds, like there's a whole bunch of stuff to do there. And I agree. Like I think we are way, way, way behind the ball on cosmetics. And I think we need some real engineering work to done on them. But that is my opinion, and that's not necessarily where the team will go. So the thing is that like the two just aren't really fungible. Champion design is more important than cosmetics, yes. But the people who would work on cosmetics are generally not the people who would work on champion design. The more direct competition is actually with like new game modes, right? If we really started doing skins, then there would be some competition for art time team or art team time, excuse me. Woof. Um, but early on, it would be more game modes, right? Like because to ship champion skins, to build cosmetics, to be able to sort them, prioritize them, have players display them and then choose or preview them and then choose them and display them. That's all like engineering hookup, right? That's back end engineering stuff. That's UI for selecting them. That's UX for like where does that live in the menus? And back end engineering, front end engineering, and UX design is all stuff that could also be going to like fixing up incursions, modernizing Alliance War, building the next towers, right? And if you asked 5 different people which one of those they thought was the best use of those resources, there's a decent chance you would get 5 answers. I don't know. We'll see. But that's why I'm so non-committal on like where is this going because I just don't know, bro. I'm just a champion designer. That is the general pushback work on it being worth it. You're definitely not alone. I personally am skeptical of that because I think they're Venn diagrams. I think that there is a player base that is used to buying power. I think there is also a player base that does have disposable income and just isn't biting at the power hook that would at the cosmetic hook. Right? Like the existing spenders who are used to buying power are probably not going to take their like $1,000 that they put towards a big sale and go, you know what I really want is for my Thor to be red and black and glowing. But there are other people who are like, I don't need a Zola Ascension. I don't really care. I'm just playing the game. But you know what I really want? It would be awesome if my Zola like had a skin where it looked like he was built out of Destroyer Uru. That I would pay $50 for, even if I would never buy even a single key for the Zola Ascension box. Yeah, see, like Guido's speaking to this. I think this is especially true in our game because of how much you can do while you're free to play, and because of how much skill and game knowledge can make up for power gaps. Because if you are skilled enough and knowledgeable enough, or if you just don't care about being at the top, then it may just literally not be worth it to buy power, right? Because maybe it's worth it to spend $10 here, $10 there, but it's like to really put down hundreds wouldn't actually get you that far unless you're willing to go hundreds further. And so at that point you just don't play. You pick up you pick up your ball and you go home. But maybe those same people are activated by cosmetics. And I know at least a few people anecdotally that's definitely true for. The question is just how large those various buckets are. I'd love for my Thor to be red and black and glowing. I tried to pick something stereotypically cool. Oh, these game design questions are tough. Hey, Anna, thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Welcome. That's a fun sticker. We are having a deep conversation about the monetary value of cosmetics in gaming. Hey, Shells. Let me see. The list is starting to get long, but let me run through it. I built Absorbing Man, Kate Bishop, Photon, Kushala, Serpent, the Luke Cage rework, Patriot, Deathless She-Hulk, Black Panther Civil Wars rework, Deathless Thanos, Jean Grey, Nico Minoru, Pavita Prabhakar. I did the light updates to last year's Rebirth pool, so the changes to like Anti-Venom and Sabretooth and them. I did the recent updates to Sam Wilson and Storm X. I did Blue Marvel. Um, and then who just came out? And I did Black Tarantula. I think that's my full list. But welcome. Happy to have you here. All right, I'm going to go after friends here. Yeah, I think we swap 4. Go all in. It'd be pretty easy to get an idea based off profile picture and first appearance sales. See, I actually don't think it is. For one thing, because how do you really decide what the ratio is between profile picture sales and what skin sales could be when you take into account the fact that we can't even search our profile pictures? Like, hold on, I'm going to pull up the interface here in a minute because it makes me a little bit angry every time I look. Ooh, okay. All right, I guess I'll just go after that. That's fine. Yeah, I'll keep the Kingmaker. Okay, yeah. But here's the thing, right? So profile pictures, we can sort by class, but like, really, the Captain America umbrella is a science profile picture? Why is this Mojo a science profile picture? Or that Rocket? That makes no sense. And like within the sort, there's no ability to then go like, okay, what are my oldest ones? What are my rarest ones? There's no ability to click on these and go like, why do I have this again? What event was this from? There's no metadata. If I go over here, is this just all? What does that mean? Okay, now it's just the open ones. But then why weren't these showing up in the others? And there's so many. How do I sort between them? There's not like a color one. There's not like a, oh, here's a filter for like these are the ones that are collaborations. There's not like hand drawn versus realistic. There's nothing for art styles. I like I said, it gets me a little bit heated every time I look at this because theoretically, I probably would spend some units on profile pictures. But I'm not going to do that when the experience of navigating them stinks that much. It's yeah, it's so old. Yeah, people feel differently about the cosmetic effect on power thing, Kurd. I personally would prefer cosmetics have zero effect on power. Like if you're trying to activate different users, just activate different users. Um, what am I saying? But I will say that like if we were going to give cosmetics some effect on power, then I would want it to be for the ones that you own, not for the ones that you have equipped, right? Like maybe for every Captain America skin you own, Captain America gets 1% base attack and health or something, which is still a lot, to be clear. Um, but which skin you have equipped on him doesn't matter. Because that way, I think, goes madness. Yeah, Bruno, it bothers me. Maybe more than it should. Yeah, titles tell you where you got them, but profile pictures, we just apparently never put that in. Would be cooler if we did. Sure, more gold or something. Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna catch up on YouTube chat for a minute here. It's a matter of how large is that base? Is it enough to relax some of the power sales? Yeah, and that's the question, right? Because you would still need to make sure that power is worth chasing. Maybe it slows down a little bit, but like, yeah, to your point, it would probably be nice if we could sell power a little bit less aggressively, but we can't suddenly try and turn this into Fortnite where we're not selling power. That would be insane, right? We have a bunch of very loyal customers who are, to put it very nakedly, used to the ability to put down their credit cards and win more because of it. People like to disparage that in the broader gaming community, but it would not make sense for us to turn our back on those established customers. It would be nice to diversify the portfolio, so to speak, and make it so that we don't feel we don't feel pressure to put extra pressure on them, I will say, and work will know what I mean. But like, we do still need to keep giving them power. Yeah, and that's part of it as well, Darkness. Like, especially as we get into 300 champions or something like that. Like we're coming up on 400 at this point. No matter how good a job we do with champions, there's probably going to be a certain number of champions that you're like, that one's not for me. And so if we end up complicating that equation with the idea of, hey, on top of that, you could also buy this thing over here that's purely cosmetic. Yeah, but it could take your gaming budget for the month, right? That you don't want to spend elsewhere, then that has value too. Lex designed Agatha Hilgen. I don't think profile pictures and first appearance have any bearing on skins. I think they show that people are willing to spend on things that aren't power related, and that is about it. As far as scale ratio, like I said, I don't think it says very much. Yeah, and see, Elijah, if skin or if first appearance added prestige, then first appearance immediately becomes power, and it's no longer a pure cosmetic. And that completely changes the dynamic of it. That's one of the reasons I personally would prefer to keep them completely separate. Yeah, I understand the impact for sure, Kurt, and I have heard people talk about that like cosmet or talk about cosmetics like that before. Like, but to me, it basically feels like you're not. Ouch. It feels like you're just hedging your bets in a way that isn't actually productive. Like, if you think cosmetics are worth investing in, if you think they can bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, then you invest in cosmetics because they can bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You don't add tiny, difficult to track stat advantages to them to tie them back into the power ecosystem in the hopes that if you're wrong, they might still make tens of thousands of dollars a year. That doesn't work, right? You kind of gotta commit, in my opinion. That's very subjective, but I have opinions. Anyway. And thank you, Shelf. I'm glad you're enjoying my characters. Hmm. I get what you mean. I don't think we're particularly interested in that kind of mechanic. Because if we give you customization on mechanics like that, then to be perfectly honest, we're just kind of giving up our control over the meta. And that is not just a like we need to hold on to control response. That is also like a some things we only think were okay when we shipped them because of the context in which we shipped them. And if we give up control of that context, if we allow players to curate their own combinations of mechanics that we said were okay in different contexts, I think a lot of those things become way less okay, if that makes sense. Welcome, Radel North. Okay, I picked the 20,000 thing. We're going to gain one and swap 5 and swing for the fences, and we will probably miss, but c'est la vie. Injustice 2 did it, and it was a mess. Yeah, it. There's a lot of games that have done it, and it definitely brings in a certain amount of money, but like. Yeah, I don't actually think it's the right way. I think it's a mitigation. And I don't think mitigations are always the right call. If for no other reason than, like, think back to what we were just talking about with, like, part of the purpose behind shifting some of your monetization to cosmetics is to take some of the pressure. Oh, that's tough. Is to take some of the pressure off your existing spenders because you're kind of accepting that you can only squeeze them so hard, right? If you insist on that kind of mitigation, if you insist on your cosmetics having an impact on power, then you're not actually taking pressure off your existing spenders because they're used to thinking in the terms of, I need to chase any new source of power, right? They're not going to be content going, that's fine, excuse me, doxing myself with one of the most common male names in the country. Um, Purely because I was fidgeting. Um, they're not going to go, okay, well, I'll chase the new meta champions. I'll chase having more of the new ranks. I'll chase having what is it? I'll chase having like the new ascensions. I'll chase all of that. But, I won't care about whatever power is attached to the new cosmetics. That's not going to happen. They're going to feel the pressure to chase that too. And then you are putting something in the game that they feel obligated to spend on top of everything else. And you're kind of defeating the purpose, if that makes sense. Okay, I don't know where you're going with that, Chris, because, like, I'm sorry that you miss OG Scarlet Witch, but it was also an incredibly correct nerf. She was way overpowered and she was doing an incredible amount of collateral damage to every other character in the game. I wasn't working with Kabam at the time, right? I was still a player. And I remember being upset about certain aspects of 12.0, but that wasn't one of them. Relics were the live action version of Synergies? Kind of. And when you're talking about battlecasts, and even to that extent, like battlecasts were really, really dangerous and added a lot to our dev costs in a way that I think a lot of us regret. Anyone working on arenas? Not right now. Just to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm assuming you're asking because the experience of arenas is not particularly fun. And I get that. It's not. But also, it's like almost objectively too rewarding in how many units it gives you per minute spent. And so it's kind of tricky because if anybody works on arenas and makes it more fun to play, some of those units are probably coming out. Yeah, like Dragonflies is saying. Oh, it was also like 8 years ago. Yep. It might be bait. I don't know. We haven't seen Chris before. Hey, Diego, welcome. Thank you for the raid. I don't know you, but nice to meet you over the internet and happy to have you here. I don't know. This really does not matter. We're probably about to crater our score here, but you gotta risk it for the biscuit. Say lucky. 50 points is so bad. I would literally rather it be Lone Wolves so I could make progress towards that title. Welcome everybody. Yeah, Strange is very good. And I'm sorry you hate playing him, but I also do understand why. I think he actually delivers on the fantasy of Doctor Strange pretty well, but that means there's a lot of moving parts. The game Bloody Roar on PlayStation. I have not. In those fights, you can transform the champions for a few seconds after 3 bars of power. Gotcha. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's very difficult to backport to existing characters because you basically have to do a complete balance pass on the entire game again. That's tricky. Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, work for sure. Yeah, it is legitimately difficult to get the lone wolf one. Nothing challenging daily. I mean, we're doing our best to add content. And if arenas do ever get looked at, I don't think they're going to be made more challenging, to be honest. Ah, they tempt me yet again, and I will bite. Like, Coliseum comes around, there's currently the squad builder thing to play, and I get it's not that challenging, but like, there's a lot to do in game. There'll be another bit of epilogue. I don't know. I don't think there's anything short term that's going to hit what you want. Um, I will say that I personally, this is one of the reasons that I want incursions to actually get a look because I feel like an incursions that was worthy of the title roguelike would be that kind of infinitely replayable PvP content or PvE content that I think you're asking about. Should I have taken 5? I should have taken 5. Yeah. Oh well. All right, well, we can take 5 again. What sig is this black tarantula? Didn't feel like he was pausing those at all. Okay, I will happily take this straight as a consolation prize. Why did I get rid of my blue 5? Because it wasn't any better than the existing one. Like at no point before the final hand did I have more than one um from any faction in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only ever had one, unless I misread something, in which case, oops. But hey, Jack. It didn't feel like he was pausing it. I had the blue 2 and the blue 5 in the same one? Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, we were not close, but it is unfortunate. Yeah, Incursions isn't where it needs to be. There's some promise in it, and I do like roguelikes quite a bit. But it's significantly flawed in its current state. Nice. I'm kind of in a similar spot to you, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's better, but Incursions won't really be good until we dig more into it, right? I have a members only video on YouTube where I talk about this more. And I go through like what I'd actually like to see. But basically all of my ideas end up requiring some kind of UI or engineering or both support. That makes sense, Darkness. I've certainly annoyed a number of people. We got okay, so that's who we're facing. Um, we got a new employee recently, and he asked me something about incursions, and I was like, "Oh, do I have documentation for you?" And I just sent him everything that I'd written for my fellow employees on incursions, and it's like 4 or 5 pages of documents. Okay, what am I looking at? Here I go, killing a straight to try and chase a frickin' flush again. Will it work this time? And why are you doing it, DLL? Because it's gotta work eventually. And now all right, we're gonna give you 3 foes. We're gonna give you the bonus thing so that you want to get 5 foes. Then you're never gonna see another one. Yeah, honestly, I'm glad that it's lone wolves and not the duo. Because if we're gonna have this happen, we might as well make some progress. This has been an incredibly inefficient stream when it comes to farming. I'm probably still top 2%, same as I was when I started. Hey, we made it into top 1%. That makes me feel very slightly better. Nope, not okay. I was trying to dash back. But thanks, Cindy.
And of course, we see nothing about sequential. All right, we took the foes one, right? Yeah, symbiotes and foes. Okay. So I'm going to keep this because we got the captain's order, and I'm going to gain 2. Yeah. And then we'll probably swap 3 the last round.
We'll take the safe one.
Hey, welcome. Happy to have you here. Well, that works. Okay, so we can drop Silk, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Ham. Yeah, because we have the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So swap 3. Cool. Same as we were. I mean, if we do quality of life improvements that work on Arena without us doing anything else, then I can see that, Jack. But yeah, I don't think it's getting anything dedicated to it anytime soon. was just me playing poorly. All right, what are we going to get? We got a triple. That's nice. We also have 3 symbiotes, so we're only 1 off the ×4. So I think we just swap 3, drop Kitty Electro, Doctor Strange, and this is coming along pretty well. I know what you mean, Jack. Still means dedicating people to it. That's kind of a tough sell. Yes, Cosmic. Cool. I'll take the Kingmaker, but it is, again, incredibly frustrating. I just cannot get a hand where the factions line up. And then watch, I'm going to get none of the bonuses here for having 4 of the same faction. Ah! Yeah, I generally agree, Work. There's an argument that we should have. Absolutely insane. This happens all day, and look, we have Wild 235. I'm about to swap Wolverine and Captain Marvel, and I swear to God, we're probably going to get a 4. What do you mean? Like the hands can only be formed from 5 champs, yes, if that's your question.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing, Jack. Ah, gotcha, gotcha.
All right. Let's see, where are we? Sorry, I'm slightly distracted because, to be perfectly honest, my wife let me know that something crashed downstairs, and so I kind of need to check it off at some point. So I apologize that I know this probably isn't what you're looking for, Chris, but why? Dev time is limited, which is kind of one of the things we've been talking about, right? Like, we want to make good content, but any content we make means we don't make other content. And what would be the purpose of us spending dev time on specific like content specifically aimed at the characters that were famously nerfed in 12.0? Like that kind of feels like picking at a scab. I don't think so, Jack. Thank God for Squad Builder. I can't believe I'm not even halfway through this. I'm not going to relitigate things. I think the team that tuned that made it a little too rough. Like I've been playing Squad Builder more than I ever play anything. How am I only that far? Like I'm almost wondering if it's bugged, which sounds silly, but like Haven't I been winning fights with Spider-Verse Hero Tag Champions? Have I just not been picking any of them in Squad Builder? Maybe I need to pay attention to that, but I certainly thought I was. Hey, Jude. I have mixed opinions on that, EA. I get where you're coming from. But part of the point of this game is that it is supposed to matter who's spending on it. I will also tell you from firsthand experience that when you have access to all of the champions, including the ones you don't play normally on your account, building a Battlegrounds deck is a nightmare. Whenever we do any kind of Battlegrounds testing on the dev server, that's always the worst part, is just like, I don't frickin' know. I have everyone. Who do I pick? Because realistically, the championship, if it was just a championship, the winner wouldn't be the person who is the best at MCOC. The winner would be the person who figured out where the meta would go within that tournament the best. And this is something that I like, I'm pulling from my experience with Magic the Gathering Limited on. Like, there are some formats where there's pretty significant drift in like what the best decks look like from the beginning to the end. And actually, when it comes to Constructed, which is a closer comparison for this, it's they always shift from the beginning to the end. And so that's kind of what you would be dealing with, right? Yeah. Designing some kind of tournament feature around something that is so unlike anything anybody does elsewhere in game is tough to get right. Like that is basically what Battle Realm Brawl was, right? But there's a reason that like people still had to get there with their rosters and then compete. I don't know. It's tough. One second. I do hope it's clear. I'm not trying to dismiss anything here when I'm thinking through this. Like I am trying to take what you're saying seriously and think logically through it, not dismiss it. But yeah, like I said, I've got conflicting thoughts. Nice, congrats, dude.
I'm glad you're enjoying the game, and I'm glad that starting over was fun for you. Soon.
What do I want to buy today? I think we still grab these. I think tier 4 is the largest limiter right now, so we'll do that. And then I'll grab these. Nope, I won't. Okay. Yeah, I'll grab 2 of them. We'll see. Well, when does this store reset? 7 days.
Yeah, and welcome, Adam. Okay. Like I said, I'm starting to feel kind of distracted. I need to go double check the thing that fell and make sure that it's still okay. But for those of you who still need drops, I will pass you off to somebody who has them live, and I will see all YouTube peeps soon. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Had a good one. I will catch you soon. All right, later YouTube.